but good enough.
Okay. How about Mississippi 1, Mississippi 2, Mississippi 3,
I better put my
Mississippi
cigarette out.
4, Mississippi 5, Mississippi 6,
I think it's
Mississippi
going.
7, Mississippi 8.
Now,
Yeah.
Okay, it's now. I still don't have any. I don't still don't have that feedback yet, so I don't think it hit yet.
It is live.
Checkmate King 2. This is White Rook over.
Over. I guess I don't have any sound on the other thing. Okay, well we're good to go then. Okay, folks, the show's going to start in the countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Boom.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Drone Nation. This is Drone Nation for February 7th, 2022. And we're calling this the Olympic version of the show because we hope to be joined tonight by our correspondent in the field, Barry Markowitz, who is covering the Olympics for the American Samoa team, which I believe, if I read correctly, they have one participant, but Barry's doing a great job over there covering it. But before I get too far in the show, I do want to send out thoughts and prayers for our friend Bill, the drone reviewer, and his dear wife, Val. Val lost her father, I think, just last night after a battle with a kind of a long illness. And, so we definitely want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers in the next few days. So, Marcus, you were going to say something about the Olympics?
Well, it's the one athlete from American Samoa, Nathan Crumpton, and he does the skeleton, and that's where you lay down on that little sled, and it's face forward going down the hill. And I guess his claim to fame is that he did the whole opening ceremonies without a shirt on.
Right.
Yeah, I saw that. He was all
Barry sent some great pictures of that. Yeah. So, DeMarco, how are you doing?
Good. Well, I mean, now that you ask, we got snow here the other day, and
oh boy,
I was out there with my snowblower. Yeah, last Wednesday, Thursday actually, like we got snow, and I was out there with my snowblower, and then to finish up, I was like, oh, let me grab the shovel and make it look nice, and I pulled something in my back, so I've been limping around there for the past.
I did the same thing in early January. We got a foot of snow here, and I messed my back up for. It took me a week to get back to normal.
Yeah,
so
it's been rough though. The wife was getting close to me the other night. I said, gotta wait.
Yeah.
Hopefully she's not watching that though. She'll be mad at me.
But the kids enjoyed the snow though, right?
What was that? I'm sorry.
The kids enjoyed the snow probably.
They sure did. Yeah, they're the snowman's in front yard, backyard. But the big star was my 50-year-old snowblower. That was the star that
still working well.
Looking out of the window like, what is that thing? What is that?
So, that is so cool that you still have your dad's snowblower. I
still have it. It's a Toro S620, and
Toro.
It took about 25 pulls to get it going, but I got it.
Toro, did he? He probably got it Sears and Roebuck.
I had to switch arms.
Yeah, that probably went through the back out.
Lots of good jokes there.
Well, listen. I know what time. I don't know exactly when Barry's coming in, so we want to get our other guests in here. Bill, the drone reviewer, before Barry gets in here. So let's take a trip down to sunny southern Florida here and bring in Bill, the drone reviewer.
Hey everybody, Ron,
appreciate you for doing this, especially considering the circumstances. That
this is good medicine for me. I'll tell you that, and I want to thank everybody I noticed in the chat, and also on Facebook for your kind thoughts and words and prayers. They really mean a lot to us at this time. So. It was, we're going to miss him. He was a great guy. He was 84 years old. Basically, it was, had a lot of things going on, but it was probably the thing that probably did him in probably the most was congestive heart failure. So, but he was in hospice, and it was a blessing. Valerie got to see him twice yesterday. She normally only goes once a day, but she went twice yesterday. So, but with all that being said, I had some great fun with the Mavic 3 the other day.
Do tell.
Oh yeah, it was. Well, I got to say this, okay? The GPS lock issue for me, I flew 4 different times, and I had a half hour in between, and I had no problems with GPS lock whatsoever, and using a cold battery from that.
It's funny, Bill. You know, we were talking before the show, and I flew the Mavic 3 yesterday as well, and I timed it, and you know, I had before that last update, I don't think I had any problems getting satellites. At least I never noticed it if I did, right? So if you didn't notice it, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But I was watching it and timing it this time. It took me 4.5 minutes from 0 to 12 satellites. And I, to keep yourself out of trouble, I would not take off until you get 12 satellites.
You get that home point. Until it says home point found.
Yeah,
well,
for me,
I would even wait longer than that, Ron, because
I never get home point until I have at least 12 satellites.
Well, here's what I've seen, and you guys may have a different experience, is that it'll grab satellites. You'll get that amount of satellites, and it'll say that it's got a home point, and then it might lose a couple.
Oh, really?
Come back. So I wait until I see that 12 on there solid.
What's the most you ever get, Marcus?
Oh, the most I've got is I've had 28 satellites before.
Yeah, mine routinely gets 19, 20 once you get it up and moving around.
Yeah, so, I've gotten 22, 24, and you know, my experience the other day when I flew on Sunday was, you know, I had a half hour between flights, and it was a cold battery. So you know, it was rebooting the app and everything, and I mean, it was like as soon as I brought up the app, I mean, I had at least 14 satellites. I mean, it was ready to go. There was no issues whatsoever. Now, I will say this, and this is just, and I'm going to throw something out here because I know, because a lot of you guys know I'm into ham radio. And one of the things that really affects ham radio and causes a lot of issues and consternation are sun flares and sunspots.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and there's been a lot of activity. You know, there's a board that we go out to and look at the activity, and it's really been active, which means it's bad news on a lot of the bands to be able to talk.
Right.
So, you know, I'm just wondering if for some reason this has come into play right now in different parts, because you know it can happen in different parts of the earth, like. There'll be people, say, for example, in Australia, be able to have clear signals and to be able to talk. Yeah. And then there's people in North America that can't get 100 miles on their shortwave transceiver, which is ridiculous because with a shortwave transceiver, literally I could talk to Africa, you know, Europe, South America. That's not a problem. But right. You know, when the sun flares up like that, that becomes a problem. So I'm just wondering if there's any kind of, you know, this propagation that's happening right now could really play, you know, with the GPS lock.
Definitely bears watching. I want to interrupt just for a second. We have another guest in the chat. I don't think he can stay a long time, so I'm going to get him in now. Another friend of guy we communicates with Barry Markowitz a lot. So, okay, you know, with no further ado, from up high at over 10,000 feet in Dillon, Colorado, here is Sean Oz.
Oh,
what's up, everybody?
Hey, Sean.
Welcome in, Sean. How you been?
Yeah, well, that's a different story.
I'm getting better, though. Your face is thin.
I've lost 35 pounds, so.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
In like a month and a half.
I mean, you all right?
Wow.
Yeah. I'm fine. Well, it's depression diet. I was dieting on pizza rolls. I lost all the weight on pizza rolls.
There you go.
Wow. I say the only time I've ever lost 35 pounds that quickly is when I was in bad health.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad health. I was just bad mental health. But yeah. That'd do it.
Before we get into too much, I do want to compliment you on you can share it around. You created a video somewhat recently. I don't know if it's your most recent one where you're talking about kind of loss and losing things. And I mean, you know, just the production and things you combined, the way you had that vintage footage from the 90s was cool. But I mean, it was the great video. I mean, it's kind of a little melancholy, but I mean, like I've been in the same place you've been in the video in a mental state, and it really spoke to me a lot. I share it with a good friend of mine too. It was really way above and beyond like anything I've ever created as far as
I appreciate that, man.
Just hitting on an emotional level.
Well, I'm trying to get back to my roots a little bit. Like I sort of ignored those storytelling videos.
Oh, there was a Mustang.
Well.
The Mustang was the theme to it. Yeah, the Mustang had in the 90s.
Well, those don't do as well as say a drone or an action camera review, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's fun making content that's filmed in a way that it sort of goes like that, and the viewer can't even really tell unless they do the editing themselves how smooth you get the edits. Like they shouldn't notice the edits, right?
Right.
But yeah, I'm planning to do more videos mixed in like that. Starting in March, I'm actually flying Sunday. I'm getting up in the morning at 4 a.m. I am going to fly to California to film a video in Venice Beach and then fly home that night.
Wow.
And I'm going to be mixing video footage of me tattooing in the early 90s in Venice Beach, mixed in with the shop here and stuff. And then in the end of March, not the end of March, later this month, Ed Ricker's going to be out and we're going to be making some drone-based content. And then the first week of March, I'm going to go snowboarding in the morning, leave to go to the airport, fly to California again, and catch the sunset on the same day over the Pacific Ocean and make a video about that. And so I want to mix in more story-based, just fun content, adventure-type content mixed in using drones, using GoPros still. And then in between, I'll do videos sort of showing how I'm using that stuff to make the other more artsy kind of videos.
So I got a question for you, Sean. So you have you were one of the first people I knew that had the DJI Action 2. And in fact, I was so grateful you took the time to show it to Ron and I think DeMarco was there when you showed it to us at Spin Up. And I noticed now that there's been some updates, and they've also actually reduced the price of the Action 2. How's it work?
Because it's not selling very well, so they had to reduce the price.
So that was my next question: is how? So you've had it now for a while. How? What do you think of it, and how's it working out?
Oh, it's just sitting back there collecting dust.
Okay, that answers my question.
I mean, it's still like right now the picture is still better on the GoPro 10, and the stabilization is still better on the GoPro 10. So it feels more rugged, and it's waterproof without a case. So it's still what I grab more than the Action 2. There are definitely times I've used it. I used it in that 1965 Mustang. Those shots under my car, that was the Action 2.
Gotcha.
Shots of the wheel, it was the magnetic Action 2 upside down under the car.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole time I'm like, please don't fall off. I don't want to run over it.
You're listening for a crunch.
Yeah, right. And then it would be smushed into the snow, and I would have never found it again.
I know our friend Barry's a big fan of the Action 2. He's using it quite extensively while he's at the Olympics with it clipped on, like, on top of his jacket. And
it definitely has things that it does that are good for what it does. That is one of them, having the little magnetic clip here. But I was watching a report the other day, and it's not selling near as good as they had hoped it would. So, yeah, whatever.
Well, there's the issues that you really got my attention when you were talking about how you have to transfer the footage from the camera down to the main part of it.
If you plug it into your computer, you can bypass that. But if you're out and about and it fills up and you need to get it to SD card for whatever reason.
The thing is, what you often are. I mean, right? 90% of the time you use a camera like that. So,
hey, listen, I'm going to interrupt here because our guest of honor has arrived from the Beijing Olympics. So, with no further ado, we're going to bring in Barry Markowitz. Our in the field reporter here. Oh, and look, there's Barry behind a pillow.
Yeah.
Welcome in, Barry.
What's up,
Ni
Barry?
hao ma, y'all.
Hello, Barry.
Hey, Barry.
Just a heads
We
up,
got a
Ron.
special panel here for you tonight, Barry. We got Bill and Sean on set tonight.
Lovely people. And what's the temperature over there, guys? That's all I think about these days.
Multiple temperatures.
During the day, it's really nice here. It's in the 30s. You can walk around in a t-shirt, shorts if you want to.
It's been in the mid 70s here in Florida, Barry.
40s here in Arkansas.
Mid 30s in Jersey Shore.
You just got to keep in mind, Barry, The
7 degrees.
7
What's-
degrees.
you,
What
you got to
am I
keep in
Is that
mind,
Fahrenheit,
Barry, that
Barry?
Jesus. I've got this parka, which, you know, Sean would laugh at. He'd like, why do you have such a quilt around you? You know, it's
I'm not.
oh, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
They-
Yeah.
The Chinese
Cut it.
government struck
Cut it.
already.
So at night here, it is cold. Like I say, you can go out in a t-shirt, and you can during the day because it's so dry. And I've said this before. And if the sun is out, it's actually pretty warm.
Right.
The key to us at the shore is the wind. Like there was the same temperature Saturday and Sunday, but Saturday had wind and it was really cold.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday was
What?
sunny, and no wind, and it was doable.
Same here, Ron. Like if it's windy, even it like I say 30 something degrees here is warm. And I do mean it. Like if the sun is out and you're out
Yeah.
midday, you're sweating. Right. But that's not just because it's dry, it's because I'm so high up to the sun too. Like people go, oh, you're 2 miles closer to the sun. But
Yeah.
your atmosphere thins, so the UV rays are a lot stronger.
Stronger UV rays. Yep.
Barry's back with us. Barry, what kind of elevation are you at there in China?
I'm sorry, I just know cold.
Okay.
But in this area where I'm at, in Yangqing Olympic Center, we have the bobsled, what they call the slide area. We have the alpine skiing and giant slalom, I think. But it's mainly man-made snow, but nobody worries because it's so bloody cold. It's 7 degrees. You guys know that I came from like 88 degrees.
Right.
71 degree differential is killer.
So
Shock
you
to
don't
the
have any
system.
long johns at home, nothing to wear.
Hey, so Barry, how much contact have you had with Nathan? I really enjoyed his video that he put together on the Olympic Center. That video that you forwarded to us.
Let me. I've got some Chinese noise in the background. I think Xi Jinping wants to join us. So
Hey, Ron, just to let you know,
we
Ron,
may get a
I got
copyright strike.
a split here in about 8 minutes.
Okay.
We're good,
you
Sean.
guys
Barry, do you
ask
have any questions for
I'm here to
Sean?
answer.
I know
asking
you
now.
wanted to talk about GoPros and some news about the new GoPros that were sort of hinted at.
Yeah, real quickly, the GoPro Hero 10 got a firmware update just about a week ago. Now, it didn't add any features, just fixed bugs. We don't even know what bugs it fixed. Have you done the update, Sean?
I have not had time to film anything or do anything I've been slammed the last few weeks.
I updated, but I haven't been outside with it, so I haven't used it in the field, so I couldn't see any difference.
I used it today.
Oh yeah,
After the update, and you know what? I couldn't tell any difference. It seemed to be a GoPro. So I'm not doing you much good.
okay. Well, the second piece of the news is GoPro had an earnings call last week, and their CEO, whose name escapes me at this point,
Nick
he
Goodman.
said GoPro is coming out with 4 new products this year.
Yeah.
He didn't specify what these products would be. They said they would be camera related. And on a show like this, I asked the question, could one of those 4 new products possibly be a return to the drone market?
Yeah, with the sessions, the rumors are that one is going to be a lesser camera like a session. Then, of course, like a GoPro 11, a GoPro Max 2. And here's the one I'm really interested in is a pro level camera with GoPro's color science and stabilization, like maybe a DSLR that's all GoPro, that's mirrorless or something. That would be insane.
One of the third-party gimbals to your DSLR to get smooth.
Not if GoPro's making it.
Yeah.
Yeah. DC Rainmaker made a good video about this, but he definitely said one's going to be a prosumer, about $1,000. He said. So.
Well, the prosumer one is a GoPro. That one's going to be like $400 or $500, but the pro model would
pro model. Sorry, yeah,
that might be like I would guess anywhere between $800 and $1,200. I mean, and then it could be way the hell over that too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Depending on what sensors in it. If it's a full frame, then obviously it's going to be 2,000 or better.
But I'm hoping they don't make a session that's modular or something modular, because modular cameras like the R1, the Action 2, they're fun, but they're not taking off, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean there's not people out there who love them, and they're cool for what they are. But like, I grab either the Max, the X2, or the 10 all the time. My DSLR sits here as my webcam,
Right.
because the color science in it is good. It's a Canon. I go outside and I'm filming. If I don't have ND filters or something, the sky be blown out behind me. If I'm in, and vice versa. Where a GoPro, it just kills it. You get the blue ass skies and everything's like, especially the newer ones. They're just, the skin tones look right now. Skin tones used to look weird on GoPros.
Right. They fixed that. Yep.
Yep.
No question. The GoPro definitely makes, if you're doing kind of a quick and dirty production, it really pays off for all the things it does well.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind that like they've been using GoPros for many, many years in movies and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Some of the movies that you found out that are, well, amazing blockbuster movies, that certain scenes are GoPro scenes, and you go, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. It's you got to give credit to GoPro more than I think the regular consumer gives them credit.
Here's the only problem I had with GoPro, Sean, and I know you had some of the same issues, is I had some, it was just a struggle customer service wise when I had problems with my Hero 10. I mean, I spent hours on the phone, and finally they agreed to send me another camera, but time is money, etc. So anyway, that I just wanted to show the flip side of the coin a little bit.
Yeah, no, the customer service when the GoPro 4 was out was like Apple customer service. It was incredible. It was some of the best customer service I've ever dealt with. Like, you call them, boom, you're on a person that doesn't have an accent. You can't understand them. They're straight up like somewhere just in an office saying, oh, you got a problem? What is it? Cool. Oh, you don't have a receipt? No worries. Boom, done. Fixed.
Yeah.
Like, I had a GoPro 4 that
the opportunity to go to GoPro because they were sponsoring me on some race car shoots, and they were up on the beach south of San Francisco, and you walk in there and there's barrels and barrels of GoPros and all the accessories. He said, take what you want. It was cool. And then they moved closer to Silicon Valley, and all my guys that I was connected to, everybody started getting fired, and it was downhill. So I'm not a GoPro guy anymore. I'm so excited embracing the world of DJI.
Understood, Barry.
Nothing wrong with liking them both. It's not like we have to be Sony versus Xbox. You can play all the.
I tried so hard to do both, just like I've done Sony, Nikon, and Canon. But the GoPro situation, just too difficult. So it's just like I do not prefer to speak French, Spanish, Samoan, and English. I'm just trying to stick to that DJI language, and it's easier.
Yeah, that's interesting because their DJI customer support usually sucks too. So if it's a customer support issue, then I wouldn't think DJI's customer support would be any better than GoPro's. They're both pretty much the same. They mostly.
I don't know. I'm here in China. They're in my neighborhood. They've been very thoughtful and nice. They're sending parts.
Yeah, no, I will give credit to. It is easier to get sponsored and products from these Chinese companies if you do YouTube than it is through GoPro. Like, I have tried to reach out to GoPro to make videos because I do a lot of GoPro content, and they are really hard to get anyone to get back in touch with you.
Unless you're somebody like DC Rainmaker, right?
Oh yeah, if you got 100,000 subscribers, it's easy. Yeah. But even at 35,000, that's not enough.
Yeah.
The last thing that GoPro was going to give me was a Karma, and maybe I'm lucky I never got it.
I actually have wanted to buy a Karma. Like, there's still a part of me that wants a Karma.
I so wish they'd have stayed in the drone business. I just think what that drone would be after a few iterations now. Yep. It's just so tragic that they had that initial problem with the batteries falling out, because otherwise they'd probably still be building them.
Yeah, probably so.
And you don't think there's any chance at all they go back to a drone at any point?
Yeah, well, there's actually, so in all his announcements, not only did he talk about the possible 4 things, he didn't say what they were, but I'm pretty sure they're probably going to be based off those 4 I mentioned earlier. But at the same time, he mentioned that the following year there will be new additional things in the lineup on top of that. So who knows? Like maybe they will come back with a drone again.
So you can always hope.
Yeah, maybe they learned from their mistakes. They got their money back from focusing on. You notice they stopped doing the 3 different cameras that were basically the same camera, just one didn't have a screen.
Right, the silver.
I think was brilliant.
Yeah.
And now instead of going that route, they're trying to make 4 different cameras that are completely different for different needs.
Right.
That's smart.
So
yeah, smart. I mean, because
Insta360's
like what they do
been
now, if you want a
communicating
lesser
over here.
GoPro, you just buy the older model.
You shouldn't forget about Insta360, and I know that Sean is exceptional in action sports with it, but they've been very nice and communicating, and I hope that they do something for my Scouts and bobsled guy, because it's a perfect marriage, just like Insta360 and Sean has been.
yeah, I have a ton of Insta360 stuff. I do the X2 now. I've given away the X1. Their Go-To is actually a lot of fun for what it is. I've got the R camera. I've got the invisible drone with them. It's a good the X2 is a pretty good camera. The only thing that I don't
really
like about it,
yeah,
the only thing I do not like about it is the fact that for using most of the files, even the flat one screen files like a GoPro, you still have to run it through their software first to convert the file. So it's an extra step. And when you're like crunch, go, extra steps that take that much time. When you're doing like 50 files, it can take some time.
Hey Sean, is there any like attachments, like you know how we got with the Insta360 and with the Action 2? Is there any way that it can mount on your chest, either by strap or by magnets, or
which camera?
Aftermarket or through them?
Which camera, Barry?
The 1X2, which I think is a fabulous camera. I told Insta360 yesterday that my guy and me both need to test drive it out here.
Yeah, it's a good camera. The Max is sadly and I say sadly because it's older, a little bit better picture quality than the X2. It's not as grainy, right? You got to blow it up to really see the difference. But the X2 has a lot of cool stuff in the app. The GoPro's is more of a meats and potato app for editing to get the 360 footage over. But the GoPro Max just works better as a regular GoPro in single lens mode than the X2 does in a single lens mode.
But can the X2, can it mount on your body easily?
Just like you can mount a GoPro. So you'd need a chest harness.
A chesty.
I like the minimalism of, the Go-To and also the Action 2. And I think that either one of us guys could be smart and invent one, or motivate those guys over there in Shenzhen to make one, because it just seems flat. It seems convenient. I would really like to go for that, particularly if I could do it on the chest, so I could have hands-free. I could be shooting with other cameras. I could be flying a drone.
Keep in mind a 360 camera on your chest, like depending on how you mount it, like it's going to be up and down like this, or if you mount it like this, then it's really only using one lens. So you might as well use the one lens mode or just a regular GoPro or whatever else. Unless you put some kind of extender.
The communication ability of Insta360 products has been outstanding regarding connecting to your phones, this and that. I'm still begging DJI, both in America and here in Shenzhen, to please work on the software, or bloody send me one that they've test driven, and I'll send this one back. I've had 6 Action 2s, and I love the camera, but it's just that one problem of connecting maybe just to my iPhone 13 Pro Max. I'd really like, in the comments, I'd like those that have, the Action 2 and an iPhone 13 Pro Max to share their experiences. Is it just me? Do they have a superior unit they got? I even went to Apple and asked them if my phone was a problem. So it's all great stuff. And coupled with our drone flying, we can do such amazing storytelling, which obviously you guys already do, and I just try to support.
Hey guys, it is time for me to roll. I'm actually going on a date.
Hey,
well,
thanks
dump us old guys then, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right.
John, do you need any gloves from the Olympics? I got plenty over here.
I got plenty too. All
Somebody
right, guys. Have a good show, Ron. Thanks
Have
for
a good time.
inviting me.
Thanks for joining us, Sean. Appreciate it.
Sean.
See you, Sean.
We'll see you soon. Bill, do you have any questions for Barry?
Yeah, I was going to
the
ask
Olympics or
Barry.
anything?
I know that as far as like regular people don't have drones, but are any of the officials there? Have you seen any drones at all?
So my drone was packed. I thought the less problematic drone would be the Mini 2, and that was ready to go. Everything was the way it's supposed to be, and I got the word that drones are verboten. So
Okay.
it's we have a helicopter flying over us regularly. That's the closest we have to a drone. But as I've sent some of you guys, there's automated robot type things. I don't know their purpose. Let's assume it's not watching us. Let's just assume it's either a security or cleaning the sidewalk, picking up trash. But I sent a video of an automated blue device cruising past me last night. So obviously the whole country is RC'd far beyond our capabilities because they're making it here, they're inventing them here, and they don't seem to object. But man, I tried, to have a drone at the Olympics. I'm very fortunate that I'm an Olympic official. I'm not a credentialed journalist, so I can go where nobody can go. I'm inside the events, and there's no spectators, and there's no Americans in this country pretty much, unless you're an Olympic involved person. So there's some things that I'll be able to show you guys, when we're drinking Kool-Aid and eating ribs at Spin Up, but I cannot publish, I cannot broadcast. It's there's IOC rules, there's China regulations. I'm in a very interesting place, and I think I'll look back at it. It'd be very historic what I've done. And I'm glad to bring you guys along for the ride where I've tried to share things with you. But also the amazing thing that I'm in China and DJI and Insta360 are domestic countries. When they want to send me something, they just mail it. There's no custom, there's no duty, there's no inspection. It's just, I'm in the neighborhood. It is so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is.
But being in the bubble, I can't go to a regular store and, Best Buy Beijing and see what the folks over here have, or if they got cooler stuff we haven't seen yet.
So that's what I was going to ask you, Barry. So there's no way you can leave the bubble at all.
At the end of my Olympic experience, I could have 21 days of de facto quarantine. The government is testing me every day, both temperature and for COVID. And I've passed with flying colors because I do my homework because I went to UCLA. So I passed my COVID test and my temperature test. So I could be free to roam the country. And I've got a visa, which is really hard to get. Now, let me shift gears. If any of you ever are naughty and the FAA is going to punish you, all they need to do is make you apply for a China visa. That is harder than the Stanford entrance exam that Ron had to take before he decided he wanted real life. It is so hard. It is so redundant. It is using, like the word Spanglish. Well, it's using Chinglish, where there's this redundancy of questions that you can't ever answer. It's impossible. So ask somebody sometime. All my friends, even in China, even in Samoa that do business with China, were amazed that I passed the test. By the way, so the reason for the hiccup in the start here, Ron link that he sent me to join did not pop up on my computer. And so, man, everything was set up. Everything was right. My computer was working fine. Ron did the right thing, which is proof because I'm operating on my iPhone 13 Pro Max. So it works for Ron, but it doesn't always work for my Action 2. So I apologize to you, gentlemen, and I apologize to your 400 million viewership and Ron Denard and Ken Dono.
No, Barry, you look great. It looks like you're on some high level camera. The phone's doing a great job.
No, I'm just on the iPhone Pro Max. This is my backup. Actually, I've been using this for most of my work, with all the international networks and everything, coordinating meetings and capturing a few things where it's just quicker to whip out the phone. Can I give you a quick sharing of the 3 prime cameras that I'm using for the Olympics?
That would be great, Barry.
So we all know that I'm like the ultimate fanboy for the Action 2.
Yep.
And you guys know that it was like a $50 sale today on the Action 2?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it was $469 today, I believe.
Whatever it is, I love it. And because I just bought it at Best Buy, as soon as I get home, I'm going to take this back and get the discount. So thanks Best Buy for making me an Elite Plus guy for buying all the stuff from you. This tiny rig, which Aldrin showed everybody a while back,
Yes.
this is valuable because when you're dealing in the world of magnets and things around your chest, things can bounce. And there's also, the issue with this, which is easy to solve, but they haven't done it yet, is putting, a clear filter for the screen so you don't scratch it. At least this case gives you a tiny silly millimeter of protection. So if it goes down, you may not scratch it with a pebble. And then when the batteries are dead there or whatever, there is nothing more dependable than the Insta360 Go 2. This is the normal capacity 32 gig, which is outstanding, but people like our buddy Young 360, she has the Insta360 high capacity 64 gig. Now, that's all good and cool, but we all know the real issue with this, which is due to size, is battery. So you may run out of battery before you run out of capacity, but us smart guys, we always have portable battery. You just plug in your wire and you got that. You're always charging. For a guy like me that's a news guy and a different type of documentary creator, I shoot scenes. So I'm not rolling for 20 minutes. I'm shooting, just 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Except
That's how I look at it too. With that Go 2, it's the perfect camera when you have a specific shot in mind and all you're doing is doing that shot. It's awesome for that, and it's so portable and so easy to use. I use it drag racing. I can just use that sticky thing, stick it on my windshield, and hey, that 12 seconds that I'm going down the drag strip, it's perfect.
You know what else that's good for is in the world of radio controlled like airplanes. A lot of guys do, and it looks like an FPV view. They use that camera because it's so light and it's easy to mount.
Yeah.
So back to Young 360. I wonder if I did something interesting in the world of Young 360. So last night I was grabbing my dinner, and I'm with a very handsome, healthy, strong, virile Korean gentleman, and we're just talking. We're getting our food. It turns out that Young Sun Bin, he's the Olympic gold medal reigning champion in skeleton, which my guy Nathan Crumpton is competing in. And he's from Seoul, where I think Young 360 is from.
Okay.
So what do I do? I'm here at the Olympics, and I'm talking about drones. I'm talking about technology as seen through the eyes of Young 360. So I show him her channel, and I said, dude, you got to support your sister. And he goes, does she live in Seoul? I said, I think she does. I'm not sure. I've never met her personally. We've been in the same Hong Kong universe. I've left her goodies from Hawaii, but I think she's a really nice person. I think you should support her channel. Will something lead from that meeting of me and the Korean gold medalist? I just know that he's a quality dude, and Young 360 is a very high quality dudette. And I think
Barry, the matchmaker, maybe.
Yes, Barry Markowitz will add to his resume now.
Yeah.
So now
this is here's the heavy. Here's the heavy hitter.
So this is not like my big sports lens setup. This is a camera that I never thought I wanted, but it's perfect for the Olympics and what I do. So normally I used to be a Canon guy. I was a Nikon guy, a Canon guy. Now back to Nikon because their sensors are so good in low light. So I use a Nikon D500 and a 500 millimeter lens for most of my sports and police shootings and news and stuff. But we were informed that as an Olympic official, I could shoot stuff, but I couldn't use, quote, professional cameras. Well, this kind of looks like a graduation present or Father's Day present, doesn't it? It's a mirrorless Nikon Z6. And contrary to popular, not so great opinions by the International Olympic Committee, I say even my bloody little Action 2 is a professional camera in the hands of us that know what we're doing. So when they say you can't shoot with a professional camera, everything is a professional camera. I made $10,000 for a photo on a Lumix 2 Panasonic point and shoot camera, a photo of Manti Te'o and his imaginary girlfriend at the LA Coliseum. $10,000 it ran on Dr. Phil show. So that's a professional camera because I made money from it. Well, anyhow, so this is compact. This is the native 2470 lens. And I got this, it's got a, see this nice frame so you can mount all sorts of lighting, microphones.
Is that small rig also?
That's from Tiny Rig or Small Rig.
Tiny Rig.
I like both companies. So, yeah. And I got this intentionally with the wood grip because I knew I'd be in freezing cold. So if you want to, sometimes for manual dexterity, you don't wear gloves. At least, you remember the kid in Christmas Story that put his tongue on the pole?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the same thing. It's putting your hand on the metal grip is like putting your tongue on the pole. You'll rip the skin off. So I went for that. And then I have a black Rapid strap that allows me to be hands-free so I can go back to playing with my baby.
Now, Barry, how's all this equipment handling the cold weather that you're working in?
As you guys know, because you live in the real world, you know, Bill and I live in paradise. So
Yeah.
this concept of keep your batteries next to your body is like a foreign concept that I only have to deal with now. But I went, you East Coast guys, you guys got your B&H camera, and I really like those guys because ethnically they're my people. But my other ethnic people are Sammy's Camera in LA, the West Coast, they're San Francisco, they're great people. So they're the guys that set me up with this. I mean, I paid for it, but one of the great things that we should actually talk about and support camera or action dealers like our guy down in San Diego. I think it's Drones Made Easy, Friends of Aldrin's. You know how valuable just getting a little bit of advice or when you got a little problem and you can't solve it. So that's why, even though I do buy from Best Buy quite a bit, I buy my DSLRs, my mirrorless cameras from Sammy's Camera, and then I'll also get some accessories from B&H. So I would hope our viewers would consider that because the camera shops and even the mom and pop action stores, drone stores, we have one in Hawaii, our buddy Mike Elliott, whatever, Drones Hawaii. You know, if we don't feed them, the puppy's going to die. We got to take care of our people.
Yeah.
They're part of our community too.
Yep. Good point. I mean, in New Jersey, it's hard to find an independent drone camera deal or anything like that in New Jersey.
So let me tell you what came about. I don't know if your viewers saw, but you, in our personal communication of imagery, guess what? Because I hung out with the Russian team 2 days ago for lunch, and I hung out with the Ukrainian team 2 days ago for lunch, I probably brought world peace through drones. So that's all. But the other aspect, we now have permission because my buddy in Hawaii, who's a famous legendary knife designer named Ken Onion, his buddy, and he designed a knife for him. I think it was under Kershaw, is Steven Seagal. Steven Seagal is Vladimir Putin's buddy.
They're tight.
Vladimir Putin, you know, I was waving at him when I walked by the day I arrived when we did the opening ceremony. So the Russian team has given us permission. We get to buzz the Kremlin.
Oh.
And then we got this set up here. You know, when they're done with the Olympics, I forgot, I haven't contacted Kelly yet, but they said we can just use the facility for the next spin up, and they'll provide all the food, and we get to, you know, use all the slopes and everything. It's
well, maybe
that's why I
Frank
came
Wang.
here.
Maybe we might get Frank Wang to make an appearance.
Well, he's in the hood.
He's in the hood.
So that's the real reason I came here, was to help you guys have more opportunities to commit more drone crimes with permission.
You mentioned Kelly Shores a minute ago. I asked him to come to the show tonight, but he's in Houston to help his mother out with something, so he couldn't make it tonight.
So because, you know, there's a lot of athletes that are getting knocked out of competition because of the
I saw somebody famous got COVID today.
yeah. So what I did was I prepared in case I got moved into quarantine. I brought some really important life-saving devices. I brought my AeroPress, which is a gourmet coffee maker,
Right.
and then I brought my Aero Latte, which to make latte you just throw some milk in a cup, and
Yeah, you have to have your custom drinks. Yep.
well, that's how you survive, because I mean,
How is the
hanging out
food
with
at
this
the
guy all
Olympics,
day.
Barry?
Excuse me.
How is the food at the Olympics?
The food is magnificent.
Okay.
And it's weird that I'm sitting there eating this magnificent food, and I'm reading from these other athletes that are in quarantine, and they said they're turning skin and bones, and they had no greens, and they had no fruit. I don't know. There's a disconnect in reality in some places. In summary, even though I watch a lot of things when I'm in the mainland that kind of say otherwise, first of all, the organizing committee here has been magnificent. They really tried to take care of us, even with the language and culture differentials. Number two, the workers, just the common people, and I don't mean common derogatory, regular folk, that whatever capacity, workers, volunteers, guides, food prep people, they are genuinely, sincerely nice. There is no CCP animosity against Americans or foreigners. People are people everywhere. As long as you're nice and show them respect, I think that the Olympics, in its ideals, could actually do what it's intended to do, which is, I'm hanging out with Russia and Ukraine. I was looking to see if they were. Yesterday, I had lunch with a lady from Iran, and when I saw her, I said shalom. Last night, I had dinner with Barnabas Zolos, who's an Israeli skier born in Hungary. And if you know what was happening in 1972, when I was playing football at UCLA, watching the Olympics in Munich, I was in tears in 1972, and I was in tears last night talking to Barnabas about the Israeli Olympic team of the past and our love for them and our unfortunately our fears for them. So this is a dramatic and dynamic world stage. Every little bit of kindness that we try to share to other people, every Olympic pin that I've given, I'm hoping that touches somebody's heart. And you never know if the athlete that you are meeting with or you're sharing kindness with is the Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin of the future. You don't know, because Vladimir was an athlete, is an athlete. So that's the other thing. Let's take that to our drone community. How many people around the world? You've got all these guys around the world on your show, all these guys we communicate with, all these things are wonderful to reach out. We don't do the political thing. We don't look for trouble. We look for, areas of commonality, areas of friendship, and we can do so much more through our groups, through our associations, than is happening in the political arena, which is a lot of posturing and, excuse the word, bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Good sentiment, Barry. How has the language barrier impacted your dealings over there with all the people, Barry?
Well, as we all know, winter sports is not a South Pacific thing; it's a European thing, and most Europeans are continental in their education and communication skills. So, for me, speaking English and Spanish, I can communicate with the Portuguese, with the Italians, with the Spanish, all the South Americans, with the Germans, because I'm Jewish and have a teeny bit of Yiddish that I speak. I can speak to the Austrians, the Germans, the Swiss people, because there's, I have a basis in that language, Schwarzbrot, Schönemädel. So that's cool for me, but it isn't all about me. But again, Europe is continental. A lot of the teams have coaches, like the Israeli coach. I sent you a picture of his coach, who's a lady from, I don't know, Monaco or so. I forget what the principality was. I sent you, Nicole, I sent you a picture of her. She gave me a pin, my first pin. So everybody's communicating. English has always been, I guess, because of radio and TV, the universal language. Chinese here are more challenged in English in northern China. In Hong Kong, obviously, everybody speaks English. So it all works. Use sign language. If you're giving somebody a pin, they know what it means. So I haven't been, all excited about the pin thing, but I've accidentally happened into pins, and each one of them means a lot from time that I spent with people, or just places that I'm connected to, Israel, England, Russia, Ukraine, where my grandmother was born. That meant a lot to those guys too. Romanian team, that my grandfather was born in Romania. That the Ukrainian team, my grandmother was born near Chernobyl, which I cannot go back to because everybody glows in the dark. Yeah. So
tell us a little bit about this picture, Barry.
Did you explain that, so I was going to eat breakfast, because I didn't know what you had in your satellite green room over here. Those guys took me under control, the Beijing police, and said, "You will not be late for Drone Nation." So
I like their
said,
hats.
fine. I said, well, how's the lobster, how's the sauna working in the satellite green room? They said, go to your room. That's where we actually do have a studio here that I've created, which works with other people's computers, not mine, and they're gone. And the reason I'm not in the studio, which is also the Drone Nation satellite studio, is because our Nathan Crumpton, our skeleton bobsled guy, is actually tweaking his sled right in the middle of the bloody TV studio. Doesn't he have his priorities right? Is his Olympic competition more important than Drone Nation? We must ask him that.
Yeah, he's a young man. He doesn't know all this.
Hey, so I got a question for you, Barry.
Yeah.
This has got to be huge for the people of Samoa to have somebody in the Winter Olympics. That's got to be a big deal, right?
It's 28 years, but the other thing is, let's talk about the people of the South Pacific and what's going on. Samoa's been locked down pretty much since I invited you guys at Spin Up to come to Samoa, right? Didn't I tell you come on down. Here's a little imagery that I shot. You'll do better than me. And then the government gave some little booklets, magazine, and gifts. And everybody's like, come on down. And then the world shut down. Well, the world is still shut down in American Samoa, Western Samoa, and obviously, and we need to talk about this, we in Samoa are blood related and ethnic cousins of the people of Tonga. That volcano wasn't small kind. That was major. Those people, their water systems, everything stuffed up. The aid people, there's great fear because it's a double-edged sword. 8 people come in bringing equipment, supplies to help out. And guess what? Now, all of a sudden, COVID is loose where there wasn't COVID before. They were COVID-less. And talking to, who was I? Oh, I was like talking to Hong Kong. We, in these areas in which there hasn't been like a community spread, you still have the Delta variant, which I believe that doctors, I am not an expert, I am not abiding by this, but I think doctors have recently been more concerned about the Delta variant than Omicron, but both is happening in parts of the Pacific, particularly in areas which are not, they've not had the community spread. So we, in Nathan Crumpton's efforts, what he's doing is he's making a statement in many ways that the world needs to remember the South Pacific and the suffering the people are going through, which might be greater because they're more remote than all of us suffer in more continental nations or developed nations. On top of that, his objective is exactly what you said. South Pacific island people are not historically winter sports people. Well, that's what he's trying to change because he's a Polynesian that he was born and spent a lot of time in Nairobi, Kenya, but then he's lived in other places in Europe and he's based in Park City now. Can you imagine some of these stud Polynesians and these very healthy young ladies, if they applied their physical and competitive skills to a winter sport? It's almost like talking about Serena and the greater propensity for African American athletes to participate in tennis or golf. He's a revolutionary since it's been 28 years and he could do good things. And there are Polynesians and Samoans like in Germany because the many parents are serving or decided to remain in Germany, all over America. So New Zealand, Australia, and New Zealand won its first ever winter gold medal just last 2 days. So you asked a very good question. And our feeling for our relatives, for our neighbors and friends and families in the South Pacific, it's so deep because our situation is so fragile, as with the volcano, as with the tsunamis and such that I talked about at Spin Up that I covered. So I appreciate your question, and I hope the drone community thinks about that. If there's an opportunity to help Tonga, American Samoa, the people in that little territory have donated over $300,000 to help rebuild houses and help the lives of the people of the Kingdom of Tonga. So I hope our drone community does that. And I really want you guys to come, that hopefully I can be there to babysit you when you need it. But I think you'll have a great time with your drones and with me making sure nobody bothers you. You'll eat good, you'll drink good. And who wants to swim in a crystal blue lagoon? I do.
That sounds amazing, Barry. I can't even imagine going to some places remote as that.
You guys deserve it. You guys have worked hard. You guys, as a reward for wasting your time on Hubson,
Oh,
We're not allowed to bring Hubson drones with us.
Oh,
No, it's just like if you filling out a Chinese visa is punishment. If you have involved so much of your time, just like I thought I heard somebody say about all this wasting of time on customer service GoPro. If you've wasted all that time on Hubson, you deserve a trip to paradise as a reward, as sympathy, as compassion.
You know why
What
I
was
do
thy
that?
pity's recompense?
You know why I do that, Barry? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that buy that product, and I want to show them the real deal. I don't want them just to look at the ad and go, "Wow, that's cool." And usually I don't give opinions. Usually I just show my experience. This is what happened, you know.
I knew Hubson before all you guys, and I always went to the early drone shows from when they started. So that's how I got an early relationship with every drone manufacturer. Who's those guys that invented the Mavic concept, GRB, or what are they called? And they couldn't. They told me, this is their quote: "We can't sue DJI because they're too big. They will bury us in litigation and defense." But they invented the folding drone, and I met those guys way back.
Oh, wow.
Hubson sent me, and I tried to give you guys the controller. They gave me one of their drones, their top level drone. I took it up, I flew it, and it went to Antarctica. I never saw it again, but I have the controller. And I contacted customer service. I said, "Hey, could you guys call me back? My Hubson's in Antarctica." They never called me again. So I'm here. I guess I could hunt them down, right?
Right. You find Sam Lee, the CEO.
Who is? I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on, and I'm on the small. Who is our other visitor today to your left, Marcus?
Well, that would be the great DeMarco Moore, which you met at Spin Up.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So DeMarco was at Spin Up, sitting right next to me the whole time, Barry, and I'm sure you probably shook his hand at one point.
Yeah, we actually.
So,
Barry,
DeMarco,
you and I met
during the last spin up,
Barry, you and I met.
saw you. You were
Friday
so
night at
pronounced in
dinner.
all the online video.
Barry,
You were there.
Barry,
I saw you.
you
So, did I miss your guys' talk already about how the Rams are going to get beat or something like that in the Super Bowl?
Well,
What
I'm glad
did
you
I
brought
hear?
that up, Barry. DeMarco's our football prognosticator here. He's been predicting the Monday Night Football games all season to save our viewers from having to go back and forth to TV because DeMarco, nobody picks games like DeMarco. So we're going to get this opportunity for DeMarco to make his big prediction for this coming Sunday. We don't have a drum. We don't have the budget for a drum roll yet.
Bro, well, listen, I am. My heart is with the Bengals. I would love to see them win. The Bengals haven't been good since I was like a teenager, a young teenager. That
They
said,
last made the playoffs in 1988.
88. When were the Icky Woods years?
That was Icky. That was 1988. Icky Woods. He went to the Super Bowl.
I was 12.
Do you do
Yeah.
the dance, DeMarco?
So
Do you do the
teenager.
Icky Shuffle?
Icky Shuffle, yeah.
they played
Yeah.
the 49ers both times they were in the Super Bowl, and the first time was against this guy called Joe Montana. So
Joe
it was like,
Montana
and then the other one I think was against Steve Young. So it was just like they ran into buzzsaws both times.
1979, I was at the Auckland Commonwealth Games watching it, cheering on my cousin, Jesse Sapolu.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, listen, I would
Where did Sapolo go to college? Did he go UCLA also?
No, he was a University of Hawaii guy.
Okay.
And,
okay.
Yeah, I got to know him because I took him with us to Samoa a couple times for our group, Samoan Athletes in Action, to help kids.
But I'm going to have to go with the Rams and the ex-Lion, Matthew Stafford, and the the Rams are going to take it 34-24.
I agree. I agree 100%. Well,
defensive line with the Rams is just killer.
See,
Man.
for me, okay, the Steelers play the Bengals 2 times a year, every year, okay? And, everybody talked about the rivalry between the Ravens and the Steelers, and then used to be the Browns and the Steelers. Well, it's still like with the Bengals and the Steelers. And, there was a lot of talk out there on some of the forums like, oh, why are you Steeler fans rooting for the Bengals? And I'm like, you know what? Okay. You can pry my cold dead hands off those 6 Super Bowl trophies, okay, before I would root for the Bengals. That ain't gonna happen.
Hey, DeMarco, do you think this is kind of what I'm thinking, that the experience differential between Stafford and Burrows, that just that couple years in the league more, that the Rams will have the edge because of that, besides what you mentioned on defense, which as a linebacker, I love and I live and I breathe defense.
Yeah. You know what? Like, we will see. Burrow has outplayed his time in the league already. I mean, he's playing like someone's been in the league 6 or 7 years. But I just think that the Rams are just rolling this year.
Well, let's not forget the Bengals defense too. In the second half of that KC game, they basically shut the hottest quarterback in the league out for a half. So somebody was playing defense over there for Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, you know what? It's going to be a good game, but I think at the end of the game, the Rams just have too much for them. That's it.
But DeMarco, you have ridden the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl. You've been picking them all along, so they've been they've been saving you this year.
Yes, I have, and just to show you how the betting gods play. I've been winning for these last couple of weeks, and at the last game, they're gonna snatch it away from me.
So DeMarco, since you're the guru, where do you think that Aaron Rodgers is going to go now? What's your opinion?
Well, I tell you where he's not going. He's not going to the Bears. I know. If I'm
that's DeMarco's hometown, Chicago. So he's got a special place.
I'll tell you where he's going. He's going to the Titans.
Yeah,
he has bought a lot of property down in Tennessee recently.
Oh boy!
And rumor has it, and strong rumor, that he's going to sign with the Titans. And you know what? That's a match made in heaven, because that team's kind of custom made for him. The way that offense is run,
I've been hearing the Steelers may be looking at Garoppolo from the Niners.
Yeah, I heard that, and that's like, you know what? Okay, and I got to say this. That's like when the Steelers they signed David Woodley from the Miami Dolphins. This is between the Bradshaw and Ben years. Okay, they signed Woodley from the Dolphins, and they signed
Garoppolo. Got us a couple Super Bowl rings already.
Then they signed Kent Graham. Okay, then they had Mike Tomczak. Okay, and I'm sure you guys have heard Mike Tomczak. It's just like it was like the retread after retread after retread in that gap between Bradshaw and Ben, and it was Bubby Brister. Okay, I mean and then there was the Cordell Stewart years, and it was just painful. Garoppolo, I think he's a good quarterback, but he's not very mobile. And I think and I got to say this: the way the Steeler offensive line is, because they got decimated this year, and I think that's why Ben retired, was because their offensive line was just so bad.
Garoppolo.
No. Well, there was big talk they were going to sign that quarterback from Pitt, who graduated this year. I forget his name, but he was in the running for the Heisman. But it's a mistake. The Steelers don't need a quarterback right now. They need to build an offensive line. They need some defensive backs before they can even think about getting a decent quarterback. Okay, let whoever they have right now run the show, and then I'll tell you what's going to happen. Okay, we will get to see how really good of a coach Mike Tomlin is, and you guys probably know I am not on his fan list. I'll tell you that right now.
Hey, Bill, can I tell the audience a fact most people probably don't know? Barry played college football for the greatest coach the Philadelphia Eagles have ever had, Dick Vermeil.
Dick is a wonderful guy. He reaches back to all of his players, regardless of level or achievements. So I spent some time with him a couple months ago when we honored a great coach, Terry Donahue, and he is so thoughtful. He is so kind. He's helped my teammate, my brother Terry Tautolo, that had some CTE and drug issues. He helped him get more right, and that's a great thing. Again, it's another community. It's a sporting community, just like our drone community. I love communities. I love people that are thoughtful and care about each other. So, in honor of thoughtful, caring Drone Nation, I was mentioning that Colombia and Aveni Crothers donated a lot of our Samoan islandware. Well, I do have lots and lots of gloves that have been here at the Beijing Olympics. Most I haven't used. So, could I make a commitment that on this show, you figure out a way, if somebody in a cold weather place or somebody that in a warm weather place, like poor Bill, goes to visit his relatives, why don't we give away 2 or 3 pair of gloves from Colombia and from the American Samoa National Olympic Committee? Let's get some community spirit. Do you have a way to give stuff away?
We've never done a giveaway or anything. Bill, have you ever done any? Bill, you've done a giveaway, haven't you?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've always stayed away from that on Drone Nation because there's a lot of rules with YouTube and so forth. So we've just kind of
Well,
steered
if
clear
you
of
call it, if you don't call it, if you call it something, it's.
I know
like,
what to call it. We call it Deferred Till South Florida Meetup.
Yeah,
There you go. That's perfect.
yeah.
So, if you guys aren't coming to the North Inner Mongolia drone meetup next week, then I'm going to bring the goodies down to the South Florida
There you
that
go.
would be
meetup.
perfect.
That's what I'll
Yeah.
do. That solves a problem. And
So
some
we
of
can
those
even
guys
get Marcus Crawford to autograph a pair or something.
Well, maybe I'll have my bobsled guy do it.
There you go. You bet. This is
Yeah.
good.
Nathan impressed me with his. He's very articulate, and I thought he did a nice job on his little tour video.
So you want a special autograph for your wife from Nathan of something?
I don't know if she knows who Nathan is, but probably.
Okay.
You can tell her.
Yeah. I
Well,
could show her. Yeah.
It's nice to have free stuff. It's nice
Yeah.
to have friends, and
Absolutely.
I'm glad. Maybe you can post the link, Marcus, of the tour, because I don't want to do a tour. I mean, if I did a tour, you'd see a bunch of camera gear and a bunch of cold weather gear, but Nathan fluffed it up, made it look good. So post the link to his YouTube videos, and we will be looking for more and more opportunities so we can legally, with permission, commit drone crimes in mainland China.
Yes.
You know what I am not eating here? I haven't eaten any Chinese food. I wonder what it tastes like.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
They got it, but I didn't tell you the reality of what happened to me at the opening ceremonies, did I?
No, do tell.
So I left on Japanese airline from Honolulu. There was like a 10-hour flight to Narita Airport. There's nobody on the flight because Japan and China and Hong Kong, everything's de facto closed down because it's a 21-day quarantine period, and nobody wants us foreign germs. So that was good. I transited. I didn't know absolutely positively guaranteed for sure, because of some things that came up, that I'd be leaving to come here until 3 a.m, and I had to go to the airport at 9 a.m. So that meant I had to do refining packing, and you guys know what it's like when you're doing a big deal. You pack, and then you gotta jettison things to meet weight restrictions, and you don't want a bunch of crap. So we got to Narita. We waited 4 hours. Then we flew in a very packed, very full flight with the U.S. team. because the territory of American Samoa is U.S., so they kind of put us together somewhat. And then we got, you guys have probably seen already online on YouTube on the news, we went through the COVID protocols and immigration and customs at Beijing Capital International Airport. So that took me like 5 or 6 hours because the visa process is so hard. Some of the paperwork was still floating digitally. So after 5, 6 hours, we took a 2-hour bus ride to our Yanqing Olympic Village. Got here, spent 40 minutes unpacking, went to sleep, ate a little. Did I eat a little bit? I just know we went to the opening ceremonies, and our guy essentially had to dress down and put on his traditional shirtless Samoan attire in the freezing cold. I have sleep apnea, so no sleep to me is I'm the Walking Dead. And then all of a sudden my stomach just started convulsing in the cold. Because again, it was 71-degree differential, no sleep. And my stomach just was getting weird. So I was, my whole plan was this on my chest, right? So I essentially have a body cam of the opening ceremony, some incredible vid. So they tell us, okay, you have to have this on the outside with this special orange, which shows that we're in the parade. So I get there, and 2 seconds before I got, they go, oh no, you can't have your placard in the front. You have to move it. Well, we had to wear gloves. That was part of our uniform, and it was cold. I couldn't get the placard inside. My fellow Olympic delegation are trying to cram it in there. I'm trying to keep my stomach together. Go out there. You guys will see the vid probably at South Florida meetup. And there's scarves flying, there's hands flying, there's placards flying, all caught on the action too. It took till the next morning that my body settled down. I really think it was a complete meltdown, mainly due to temperature, lack of sleep, and then I haven't even figured out elevation, but I'll definitely let you know. But we're in the mountains, and we're 2 hours away from downtown Beijing.
Yeah, I'm sure the elevation played a little havoc with your body when you first got there.
So what do you guys think? When I woke up this morning and I saw this, I mean, that's great, but doesn't that usually mean that the Action 3 is on its way? What do you think?
I guess not yet. It's too early.
Yeah, I mean, last time around they did not cycle their product through in 1 year, so be interested to see if they do cycle through again next.
Well, didn't the
fall.
Air 2S and the other one, wasn't there a quick cycling
Yes,
in that
yes.
genre
the Air
of drone?
2 and the Air 2S.
Yeah.
There was a pretty quick cycle there.
Yeah,
but I
so
think with the action cam for them, for DJI, I think that's a once-a-year kind of proposition. And remember, there was a pretty good gap between the original action and the action 2.
Yeah,
and by the
better than
way,
2 years.
I still use the original action, and I love it. I
use it.
You got to pry my cold dead hands off of it. I
wish I still had
absolutely
one.
love mine.
Yeah, a lot of people love the action one.
my Action 2 is right here to my left because, as you just indicated, Bill and Marcus, it is so dependable. As is, guess what? The other one I'm using a lot on the track and capturing thing is the Pocket 2.
The Pocket 2.
Yeah, so, well, Sean was like Switzerland, he doesn't want to offend anybody. He's everybody's buddy. I'm sticking with the guys that, that took me to the prom, and they're dancing good. So I'm going to keep dancing with them.
Yeah.
That's why I know they're going to work out this minor connectivity issue, and having the ability to remote mount or remote control or use different extension rods and all that. That's magic. So I never thought that I would be using consumer type stuff to capture 4K dynamic historic Olympic imagery. I never thought it. I never dreamed it. This is the least I use is the Nikon.
Right.
But again, it's like having a single blade screwdriver and a Phillips head screwdriver. You use whatever tool does the job correctly, right?
Right. And you like how kind of stealthy the Action 2 is. You're not conspicuous when you use that to record.
Well, if you think about some of the things I do, whether it's breaking news of the natural disaster type, I'll have other cameras, or I'll be trying to save my own life with my hands. Or, for instance, there was this big, somewhat controversial shootout where some kids of Micronesian heritage did a home invasion, and then they tried to run over the police, and the police shot them and killed the 15-year-old driver. So my stuff was all good, righteous front page. With my other sports Nikon, I use that lens. But there's so much other happening around you to capture. I mean, think about, oh, I wish I had my camera rolling. Oh, I didn't know this happened in front of me. And that happened to me once in Kahuku, where I shot video of a murder that happened in a Vietnamese farming area, because the Vietnamese in Hawaii are great farmers and restaurateurs. So I'm interviewing some people, and it turned out that one of the people that was in my imagery, it was the wife of one of the farmers, killed the guy that was stealing from their farms. And I accidentally caught it on tape. So when you have these rolling, when the action's happening, you may catch history and not know it. So
I got a B-roll camera going. Yep.
Always a big believer in stuff that you can roll or stuff you can do hands-free.
Yeah.
And I think this universe with Insta360, with GoPro, with DJI, we are so benefiting in the last 3 years of new directions and quality. And I'm just begging for consistency, just like the original Action, Osmo Action, just like the Pocket and the Pocket 2. If I can get that connectivity, I'm going to get a Pulitzer.
Hey guys, I got a part. We got lots to do tomorrow.
All right, Bill. Well, thanks for coming on for the special show tonight with Barry.
All the best to you. Looking forward to seeing you at the meetup. That'll be fun.
Yeah, maybe sometime I'll get a mug or something like that from Bill the Drone Reviewer.
Oh, absolutely. I'll bring one with me.
Bill, give Val our best.
I will. Hey, thanks everybody. Have a great rest of the evening.
Right. Good night,
You're
Bill.
the man, Bill.
And Barry, I think the great thing today, you kind of danced around a little bit. No matter whether you're in the Insta360 camp, the GoPro camp, or the DJI camp of mobile film, they're all good devices. You could get a lot of good video no matter which of those platforms you were using.
Yeah, and I think I don't think Insta360 will get offended when I say this, but like I talk about different tools. I mean, look at this thing. Look how tiny it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to give me as superior image creation as the Action 2, but it may work where the Action 2 is not functioning. Also, because it's so lightweight, these things can go flying off your chest, depending on how much activity or vibrations or running or jumping up and down. This, easily clips to your hat, goes on your chest, does a lot of wonderful things. So, yeah, Sean, you're right. I love everybody just like you do. But there's certain tools and certain usage for certain products. And there's nothing wrong with us saying, come on, guys, tweak it a little better. Please, pretty please, I'll buy your stuff. Even though you give it to Aldrin for free, I'll buy your stuff. So I really wish that I could go hang out. I've got all these cool tech people in Shenzhen. Besides DJI Insta360, there's this guy, Chi Chan, that gave you something, guys, didn't he? Ron?
Jog my memory here.
Something that attaches to one of your devices, one of your Apple devices.
The iPad Pro. We'll call it cover.
So he's got one of those for me for my MacBook Pro 14-inch that I screwed up on today and wasn't able to do the show with. He's waiting down there for me and just can't get down there. But there's so much stuff that when I would be in Hong Kong in past years, that I was hooked up with PJY Tech, who I think we all agree is a dynamic third-party accessory maker.
Definitely agree.
They would solve a lot of problems before
Yep.
DJI created an extension arm, or they did it instantaneously. Our buddy Chi does the same thing, but all those poor guys, they're set back by, the borders closed, supply chain. They got worker problems. So it's.
I'm stepping out, guys. Thank you, Barry, for coming on Drone Nation, and enjoy Beijing. Sarah's calling me for dinner.
I will. In fact, let me call Sol and we can get Young 360 to replace you, because she's a much more interesting guest than you or I.
He would be more interesting than me, I guarantee you.
I wonder what time it is in South Korea.
I think it's cold also. I mean, you watch her periodically.
Good night, Marcus.
It's like a winter fashion show whenever you see Young 360. Now, what's really weird, and for a guy like me, being an island guy, all I do is throw on a pair of board shorts, a t-shirt, and slippers, and I'm out the door. Over here, I got to put on shoes and socks and thermal underwear and pants and thermo shirt and the parka. Then I got to have my bloody placard, or I can't do anything, can't go anywhere. They shoot me on sight, I think. I got to wear the my beanie, my Smart Wool beanie or my Columbia beanie. So you poor guys that live in cold weather places, I really think there's like 47 minutes of your life every day taken out of your life by getting dressed and undressed. Is that
getting bundled up, as we call it over here?
No. You get used to it, though. It gives you a for a Midwesterner like myself, it gives you a resilience, because just because it's cold doesn't mean anything. I mean, like, you still go to work. You go to work. My dad was an electrician, and never did he stay home because it was cold. He got up and went. So which means we had to ride our bikes to school and walk to school. You just do it. Yeah.
Well,
and live at the Jersey Shore, Barry, we get just as many days in the summer where it's too hot to go outside as we do in the winter where it's too cold to go outside.
So, DeMarco, if you're in Samoa or Hawaii, will you melt because you're so used to that 20 degrees?
No, I've been to Hawaii actually. My honeymoon was there, but no. It is cold. It's the four seasons you get, but just like Ron said, the summers are just as hot. The summers are almost unbearable. What's different from where I live at now in Arkansas is just the summer's longer. So like we it's hot up until like October, whereas in the Midwest and where Ron lives at, though, it starts cooling down in what September. Ron?
I mean, it's nice here through the beginning of October, but it gets so hot here during the summer. By August, early September, we're almost begging for the cooler weather to come.
Yeah. My favorite seasons are spring and fall. That's it.
So, my daughter apparently escaped the night before you guys shut down with all your snow and stuff a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then she was coming back. I didn't hear. Didn't you have another big snow episode also when she was coming back?
You had to be really far north to get the snow. In New Jersey, it's mostly rain. But in the more northern states, it was snow. So she just got a lot of rain on the way back.
Are both you guys going to that South Florida drone meetup?
We will. Yeah. Well, I can't speak for DeMarco. I will be there.
DeMarco, Any chance?
Working? No, I can't go.
Okay. Well,
Man,
just tell your word.
I'm going to be there so early, Barry. The event's like April 2nd. I'll be there on March 2nd. We're spending the whole month in Florida to escape the cold weather in New Jersey.
Okay, so you'll pick me up at the West Palm Beach airport and take me to the train, or give me a ride up north a little bit.
There we go. Yeah. Well, I'll be in. I'll actually be in Jupiter, Florida, which is closer to Palm Beach than the location is.
Yeah.
Captain Ray and I can swing by and get you.
Captain Ray is the man. Right. So every event that I'm supposed to work, rugby around the world, or even last year's or 2 years ago Olympic, everything gets delayed and canceled. No matter what is guaranteed that I'm going to do, whether it's Vancouver, whether it's LA, whether it's Hong Kong and Singapore. But I can tell you one thing, Captain Ray and those boys at the South Florida Drone Meetup, nothing will stop them.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. Nothing.
It's guaranteed. That's why I committed to them, because all this other flaky stuff. And I'm triple vaxxed. I don't think they care, but I'll put on a mask. I'll throw a sheet over my head, whatever they require. I just want to go somewhere and be with like regular folk and do something, not keep getting these. Sorry, we're canceled. Sorry, we're delayed. So I'm a big enthusiastic supporter of what they're putting together.
And Florida, even last year, a year ago, when we were, I guess, more into the COVID, it was a pretty open state that time of year. So, I mean, we ran into almost no kind of COVID restrictions in Florida. I mean, certain stores or whatever required masks, but
Do you know, because I'm a dual national, can I jump on a plane and fly to Cuba and grab us some cigars and rum?
Well, you could even take a boat from Key West.
Okay. Well, Western Samoa citizens, we are welcome everywhere. Everybody loves us.
And when you go to some of the Caribbean islands and you stay there for a while, the boat captains will offer to take you over to Cuba. They don't care if your passport's American.
Well, what I heard is some of your friends do, not you personally, that they fly to Cancun, Mexico. They get their passport stamp as Cancun, and then when they go to Cuba, it's just a paper stamp on a separate piece of paper, and they go back through Cancun.
Yeah,
I had friends that did that, but I'm scared of the government, so I always do everything that I'm supposed to do. I'm a good boy.
Yep, agreed. Well, listen, we're coming to the end of the show here. Do you have any kind of last minute thoughts for us, Barry, on the Olympics or what to watch for? How much longer will you actually be there?
I can be here till the end, around the 22nd, 23rd. But, watching geopolitical reality, it might be good to be home like around the 16th.
Oh.
Animosity between our president and Vladimir. I'd just like to be home. I'm not predicting anything. I don't have any inside knowledge. But there is something I want to say to the drone community that I was able to do over here. None of you guys knew when you met my wife 2 years ago at Spin Up that was her last couple months.
Right.
And she was overjoyed with all the wonderful kindness that you guys showed her. That is why I'm continuing this tradition that every Spin Up, I'll be sending chocolate macadamia nuts or cocoa Samoa or some kind of island treat in her name, because we did not make a point. You guys really never knew that she was terminally ill, but all you guys treated her so, so kind. And what you don't know, when I walked out, when we were introduced there, because of my wife having Chinese and Samoan heritage, I kissed the sky. I looked up at heaven. I said, I love you, Taffy. This is for you. So all these little communities are connected. and all your guys' thoughtfulness. Not only you guys, but remember, you got spouses and kids and other people that participate. I love you guys, and I really thank you for everything.
You're very welcome, and we're just glad to be, part of, the community that you're in, and all the insight you share with us. I mean, you've lived an incredible life from playing college football at UCLA, doing everything you have in the world of journalism and photography and video. You're just a kind of amazing person, somebody that a lot of us look up to, with your experience.
I just want to share all the good things that happen with you guys and give you opportunities such as us buzzing the Kremlin. Will be loads of fun.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show with
Thank
us tonight from China. It just was a special event tonight. I've never been part of anything like this before. DeMarco, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, Barry here. I was trying to say earlier, I met you and your wife on Friday night at the dinner. So like when you guys walked in, we stood there and talked, and we actually ate together too. So I got
video of you. Then I sent it off to Kelly, and I said, "Bloody play these videos from your last in person." And I don't know if it got shown up, but you guys were definitely there.
Yeah, no, she was a nice woman, and I'm sorry for your loss, sir. I am.
Well, you know what? She's not gone because all you people remember her and seem to equally cherish the brief moments you had with her. So I got to visit her grave before I got on the flight. And, there's still a lot that needs to settle down for me and my kids. But we know that we did everything, took her to Hong Kong, took her to Singapore, had planned to take her to London. But
Austin, took her to Austin.
and we did take her to Austin. And again, because nobody in Austin knew what was up with her, she was just a regular person, just another guy's wife. And she just got to be her. And what you saw was the real her. Always trying to do something for other people was more important than doing something for herself. So you guys are the best. That's why I will always support you guys. As I always say, I want to support you guys. I never want to be you guys. I don't want to have a show.
Right,
but I'll make a few vids, put on my YouTube channel. I'll get you guys some donations, and like Columbia here was so great. I'll hit them up for South Florida drone meetup. I'll always ask DJI Insta360, our guy Chi Chan with his tiny rigs and all that. We'll keep it going, keep people happy. Free stuff always makes people smile, right?
It does.
Yeah.
All right. I want to again thank everybody out there that joined us in the chat tonight, and thanks for supporting the show and supporting Barry's appearance on the show tonight. I hope we all can meet at the South Florida meetup. Everybody that's going in the chat. So it's been a great show, and we'll see you next week. Everybody out there, stay safe, fly safe, and watch plenty of Olympics.
If my guy wins gold, I'll be on again next
Go Rams.
And go Rams. Good night.
Good night. Love you guys.